First things first.
Yeah.
The loquat.
The loquat. Yes. Okay. I did very well not to eat them all. Freeze-dried loquat.
And loquat is the best fruit in the world.
It is.
Thank you.
Luckily.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So.
Mmm.
It doesn't have the quite the smack in the face that the fresh one gives you.
Well, it is sour though, isn't it?
It is nicely sour.
Wow.
I'm just kind of looking forward to giving one to Owen. No,
Yeah.
it would be cruel. Also, Nick.
I'm seeing Owen tonight. Going to a gig.
Yeah.
I got.
We should have filmed your
It's
face.
so sour.
It is sour.
Really nice though.
Good. Another one?
Yeah, go on then.
I'll put you in charge of the loquat.
One more,
It's
and then
important. It's research.
I don't know what for yet, but okay.
We need to keep our nose buds in practice.
I don't know why I'm doing that there. Anyway, right.
Well, so that because it's freeze dried, and if you let the moisture in, they go soggy.
No, I mean I should have done it with my hands rather than just against the. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Oh.
I see. Right. Arthur's just sealing the packet. Okay. So over the crunchy background, I'll talk about patchouli a bit then. Alright. Right. Patchouli with the accompanied by crunches. Oh, I tell you what would be interesting is, as you are eating a loquat, try not to crunch. I don't know.
I'm rehydrating it.
Yeah. That's how you eat, as we once discussed. 3 Jacob's cream crackers in a minute. So, I have here what is called a rectified patchouli. Rectified as in put right. As if there's something wrong with patchouli. And what happens with patchouli essential oil is that there's a light and a dark. The dark patchouli is distilled in, let's get this right, iron vats, I think, and it picks up some of the colour from the iron oxide, I guess, and it goes dark, and I like it. Somebody told me it doesn't smell any different from the light, but it does, and I think that must be done in steel. And here comes the police helicopter. We haven't
It's really
heard it for a
nice.
while.
It smells. If I was to put a word to it, I would say rectified.
Well, you would be correct. You would be right. You would be wrecked.
It's really nice.
It is. It's a very smooth version.
Yeah. It's not very muddy.
No. And I like the dark patchouli because I do find it quite light, thick. This is lighter and smoother. The trouble with patchouli, trying to describe patchouli, is you know you really describe it as patchouli, and if you haven't smelt patchouli, it's just, well...
It's really true, I wouldn't, yeah.
A hippie walking by 40 years ago, that...
Yeah.
That's it. It used to be, if you wore your double denim in the 70s and went off to a prog rock gig, the only acceptable fragrance would be patchouli essential oil.
Just to mask the smell of marijuana.
So they say, but a lot of us, we would wear the patchouli anyway because we had no idea that it was supposedly to mask the smell of marijuana. We just wore patchouli because it was patchouli. Sandalwood was another one that people wore, but it was more expensive, still is.
So people just wore it as an essential oil?
Yeah, because it's one of the ones you can. It's one of the ones you can put straight on the skin, and people who'd been to India and discovered it would wear it. It's also good for repelling moths. So patchouli was used to fragrance proper pashminas, cashmere scarves coming over in Victorian times. And also it was used to fragrance Indian ink. So you could tell it was proper indigo, not synthetic purple colour that had come over.
Wow.
It's apparently related to the mint. It's described as a woody. It's in the woody department of fragrance materials, even though it's a herb. It comes from a little furry leaf bush. So, but yes, it's quite.
Have you ever tasted it?
I have not tasted it.
I wonder if you can cook with it.
I don't know. We'll have to ask Adam. He probably knows. Oh right. So anyway, different sorts you can get, and why would you use it? Yes, the police are back. So you get the dark, which does smell different from the light because of the process used to make it. I like the dark. The dark.
The dark side.
Yes. The rectified one is for people who like the cleaner, smoother kind of version of it. So by rectified it means it takes off some of the sharper top notes and some of the murkier base and get the clean bit in the middle. We also have a patchouli cœur, the heart, from Alvervier, I think. But you can't get that anymore, I think. So, because people just stop making it. It's more expensive when companies process it to make their special version of it. So common or garden patchouli is still quite expensive. I mean, so it should be because people need to be paid properly for making it. But then if a company gets it and does some kind of molecular distillation to take out the bits they don't want, then they can charge more. So they're saying, well, you should use this one because it's better, it's put right. They put rectified, they don't just write different. They imply that it's being put right. So, also, you can use it with things to make the smell of chocolate.
Really?
Which seems unlikely, but let's add this to a drop of the patchouli. We'll add a bit of this, and then I'm going to do something else with it. See what I got here. Drop patchouli, and this is just little experiments. Normally we'd weigh it out, wouldn't we? To do it properly. But I made a patchouli, vetiver, frankincense, lavender, all kinds of grounding, and Modern Lives blue fragrance. I was wearing it, but I said, have you been eating chocolate? To Nick, because he does that secretly. And he's like, I want my chocolate. Where's the chocolate? And I realised it was me. I was wearing it, and it was the patchouli. Okay, smell that then.
Oh yeah, what's that?
That's 1 drop of patchouli with 1 drop of vanillin. Not.
Did you drop 2 things on this?
I'd already put the patchouli on it, so I put the vanillin on as well.
Yeah, it is.
So the patchouli is just, you don't get that kind of hippie sharpness of it. It very quickly just makes friends and bonds with other things. And so you want it in your chypre fragrances with oat moss and bergamot and labdanum or opoponax maybe. It's nice in ambers.
This feels... This... combination, is it in Shazam? You can't remember. I mean, I'm trying to explain.
No, it is, because there's patchouli in Shazam and there's vanillin in Shazam. So
this reminds me of this. This feels like this mixture feels a little bit like a signature of yours. Like I can
Yeah.
It feels a bit of a signature.
Now I come to think of it, I end up putting patchouli and vanillin in a lot of different fragrances. Every time I'd make an amber, and probably.
God, that's lovely. See why?
Okay, how about this combo?
Oh wow! Have you added some citrusy thing to
I
that?
have added a citrusy thing to that, yes, and that occurs probably even more regularly in my signature.
Oh, so nice.
So that's patchouli and bergamot together, just the two of them. That's it. Which also featured.
Yeah, it makes. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. Go. What's it make?
It makes both of them nicer.
Yeah. The perfumery. Now, a while back, we did a thing called Cloud-Based 42, although it might not have been called that when we made it, but it was using big natural clouds, and we used patchouli and bergamot and something else natural as a cloud, as well as hedione. What was it? Vetiver, I think. And so those two together in that. John was bottling this morning, and because it's going out to the Scenthusiasm patrons, and yeah, he was liking it. Now I need to talk about clearwood, which I can't find. But clearwood is sort of patchouli and sort of not, but it is as clean and clear a patchouli as you can possibly get. But it's one of those white biotech, almost sort of technically natural new materials grown on yeast, I'm pretty sure. The feedstock is yeast. So it's sustainable. Don't have to dig anything up to get it. And that is, it's like future patchouli.
Yes,
and
I've
we've
smelt
smelt it.
clearwood.
We've smelt it. We've had it around.
Yeah.
It was here. I'm sure I was using it yesterday. I probably packed it to take it to the Barnes at Fragrance Fair tomorrow, because I'm doing the a sustainable scents workshop again, and it's one of those materials which is high up on the sustainability scale.
Sorry,
Ours is
water
rattle
bottle.
in the bowl. High up on the sustainability scale, because if its feedstock is yeast, and yeast just keeps growing that stuff, doesn't it? Try baking bread. So that's, yeah, clearwood is being used as the cleanest of clean patchoulis. So we'll be making some fragrances with both of those. Sometimes I put both in, because sometimes you have enough patchouli, but you still want it to be sort of more patchouli-esque, but you don't want it to take over. So I would use both. Since I can't actually find it, that's probably, for the moment. What else do we need to say about patchouli? Maybe it's something that's, I mean, it's got aromatherapy features, you know.
Yeah.
It is one of those grounding, calming. So if you smell it for a while, it just, you know, you just settle down. So maybe that's what we've been doing.
Yeah, I love it. Bergamot and patchouli go together.
Bergamot and patchouli
really
good. Yeah. Grapefruit and patchouli do Terry's chocolate orange. And mint and patchouli, it does after 8. Just like, that's what you got.
Patchouli is very chocolatey.
Yeah. So you can use a lot in a fragrance. You can use a smidge just to give it depth and interest. London 1969, that's got shed loads of patchouli in it. I think what I've got here that I there we go. London 1969. Now that we've smelt the patchouli, you know how when you smell a thing and then you smell the perfume that's got it in, it becomes much more evident. So London 69 is my, you know, I sort of made it to remind me of the fragrances that the people who'd gone off and done the hippie trail, came back, trained as teachers, and ended up working at my school. They used to smell like this.
Really, really nice.
And wear flared corduroy suits and the headmaster would have to keep telling them to get their hair cut. And they'd all play guitar and form a folk bands that performed at school concerts. So that was what I was doing here, so it had to have patchouli in it. But it just does that.
Yeah,
That
really
thing.
does.
Lots of people think they don't like it, but then they smell it and they think, oh, is that patchouli? Like, yes. And then they realise they smelt some horrible, cheap, adulterated stuff from a naff shop somewhere burning incense outside.
Yeah, yeah. Or, one of those candles that you get from Poundland, scented candles.
Very possibly. Enough to put everyone off.
It's really good. London 1969 is so good.
We forget sometimes.
Mm.
And you know that I took it to a vintage car boot sale, the Wayne Hemingway on the South Bank vintage car boot. So we twinned with a vintage car because we didn't have one at the time. And we don't have one now, but had one in the meantime. And I was just saying, would you like to smell London 1969 to everyone who walked by? Thinking that they might want to match the fragrance with their outfits. So that New York 55 might go with it. No, the rock and rollers might want that. And Paris 1948 might be for the jive dancers. So London 1969, and there's wonderfully sort of elegant, very small elderly lady. So I said, yeah. So I handed it to her, and she leaned over and she just said, how did you know? Which made me very happy. So yeah, this for me is straight down to the now demolished concrete corridors of Bolton Comprehensive School, 1970s. Teachers herding you into classrooms, ready for your next chemistry lesson. But I set it in Hyde Park in 96 now. I was too young, of course.
Someone walked past me wearing what I did on my holidays the other day.
Really?
Yesterday. It was
Excellent.
unmistakably what I did on my holidays.
Good. Yeah, I remember somebody told me they'd smelt someone on the bus once wearing it. Oh, that reminds me. I want to say hello to the nice man who I met in Boots last week on Saturday. He came up and he said, hi! And I said, hello? Because I was thinking, I don't know. And then he went, oh, you make perfume. He had a lovely French accent. You make perfume. And I said, yes. He said, oh, I follow your YouTube.
Ah!
So, because he thought he knew me.
Aha, that's great.
And then he realised in a moment that he only knew me from YouTube.
That is great.
I know it was. I was being recognised. And so we had a little chat. So, hello. I enjoyed that. Thank you. Yeah. On which note, I'll probably, before it goes to my head and I can't get it through the door, enough on patchouli.